For centuries now, the Sony ponies and the bots have been labeled as toxic and problematic, and ladies and gentlemen, every year we hear some sort of news that says that their beloved franchise is going exclusive, and that sent the Sony ponies, the bots into coma. And today, ladies and gentlemen, well, the FTC has cock-blocked the Microsoft and Activision deal. You can see, like, people are engaging and a ton of people are mad, people are angry, people are mad, and this situation is so wild. And I'm telling you, man, we're gonna be here for another decade and a half, and I want to check this video out because the situation is so wild that the homies are actually dead as talking about Jim Ryan. Jim Ryan started trending. People are accusing him of taking the Sony Pony Airlines down to the FTC and telling them that you gotta cock block the deal. And Steam Box, PlayStation, Jim Ryan crying as always. So homies just throwing L's, and people are taking Kratos and handing over the L right there. I mean, bruh. And the situation got so out of hands that according to our report from analytical site MLex, Sony reportedly believes that Microsoft deal with Nintendo for Call of Duty is smoke and mirrors. Now this is just crazy, okay? Like, a lot of people just couldn't even compute. I just cannot even compute because recently Microsoft came out and they said that, bro, like, listen, okay, like we get it, but we are gonna give Nintendo 10 years, and Sony, if you want it, we're also gonna be giving you 10 years of Call of Duty. Take it and enjoy it, okay? And shut the hell up. That's what Microsoft did, but Sony's like, we want to be strong and independent. Nintendo just went ahead and they were like, okay, whatever, we'll take the deal. And now Sony's saying it's just smoke and mirrors, and it is misleading, and that current Call of Duty could never work on Nintendo Switch. Otherwise, Activision would have already done it. And listen, man, I gotta like, I gotta pump the brakes, and we're gonna be checking out this video from Dreamcastguy. Drop a thumbs up and let's check it out.
Dreamcastguy here, talking today about the Activision Blizzard deal, because it sounds like it just got blocked. The Federal Trade Commission here in the United States has just put a huge brake pedal on this $70 billion deal.
They didn't just put a brake pedal, they just put the entire pressure on the brakes and the tire puncher.
Microsoft is trying to buy Activision Blizzard to obviously get access to stuff like Diablo 4, World of Warcraft, Overwatch, and the most profitable franchise in the universe, Call of Duty. Yeah. Well, the FTC has straight up decided to sue Microsoft to stop it from going through. But let's take a look at the official wording of it. Hope you're having a great day. If you could subscribe and like this video, I'm currently incredibly sick.
Ladies and gentlemen, subscribe, hit the bell. I mean, for real, guys, like, come on, man, just do it, bruh. Like, just, bruh.
I'm sorry my voice sounds a bit funny, but here we go. Breaking news, the United States FTC is filing a lawsuit to block Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard. This was first reported by the Washington Post. Microsoft has shown that it can and will withhold content from its gaming rivals. Today we seek to stop Microsoft from gaining control over a leading independent game studio and using it to harm competition in multiple dynamic and fast-growing gaming markets. Now, part of what's interesting about this is, to me, it does, I mean, this is technically correct. Microsoft has bought stuff in the past, and...
What? Yo, where the bots at? Where the bots at? This is a revelations, man. This is biblical stuff, man. This is biblical stuff. I want to know your thoughts. Yes, you. Do you think it's gonna go through? W, if yes, if you're loving the situation right now. L, if you think it's not gonna go through and you're like hating the situation, you want the deal going through. W if yes, L if not. Let me know your thoughts, because I mean, damn, bro.
Made it exclusive, but so has Sony, so has Nintendo. Other people have definitely done this. I think it's mostly the scope of this. Call of Duty is just so big. This is technically the biggest independent game studio on the planet, and that nobody owns Activision except Activision. Now, what's interesting about this is, just a couple days ago, there was this weird official statement that Microsoft released that said if they can get this deal to go through, they're going to start putting Call of Duty games on the Nintendo Switch or the Nintendo Switch Pro.
Honestly, that was like really smart on Microsoft part. Like, I saw that, I wanted to make that video, but this news keeps on coming out, bro. I just cannot even compute. This was very smart of Microsoft to do that, because that's like applying more pressure. That's like applying pressure on FTC, but they clearly didn't like it. For whatever reason, they just cock blocked the homie up, right? They're like, we're not gonna let you go in. We're not gonna, You know what I mean? They just went in crazy. They went bozo, my god. This is insane.
Or whatever comes next. They said, for the next 10 years, we're going to put every Call of Duty game we can onto the Nintendo consoles.
Dang.
And when I heard that, what it sounded like to me is that Microsoft is desperate. I don't mean that in the negative sense. I'm not saying that they're desperate because they're like super weak. I mean that in that Microsoft wants this $70 billion.
Sony is desperate to getting this deal blocked, and Microsoft is desperate in getting that, right? Both are desperate. Let's be real. For right and for bad, for negative reasons, like for good and bad, for both. For both.
Deal to go through no matter what, and by making public concessions, by promising that all these games are going to come to PlayStation, by promising these games are going to come to obviously Nintendo, it's them trying to scare off the FTC. They're trying to tell the FTC to screw themselves before this.
I mean, like FTC is not a child that you can scare off. You'll be like, okay, FTC, we will not give you Call of Duty points, okay? You better block the deal, okay? I mean, like, damn, son, like you cannot scare off FTC, bruh.
Actually happened. And it still ended up blowing up in their faces. Now, what's interesting to me is that the biggest issue, so this is Charlie Intel. Charlie Intel is actually a Call of Duty Twitter account, but they've been covering this whole legal mess very closely. The biggest issue now is this long court process will take the FTC a while. Microsoft and Activision Blizzard have till June 2023 to close this deal. If not, the deal must be renegotiated. And I don't think that this will be settled in court by then.
Pump the brakes, man. Pump the brakes. Now, that's the thing, right? Because for June 2023, that's the deadline. That's what we have been hearing for a little bit right now. And if this deal gets buka-killed, if this deal, like, if it gets buka-killed, then, I mean, bruh, like, the deal is closed. Like, it's canceled, right? But knowing the fact that they have just tried to cock block them, they're suing them big time, this deal, very likely, it's not gonna get done. It's not gonna get settled in court till June 2023. There are cases that stays in court for years, for decades, right? Let's just say it takes longer than June 2023. Then they would have to renegotiate the deal, and maybe that's when they can go ahead and buy Activision for 71 billion. Maybe Activision is gonna be like, we're strong, we're independent. Look at the Modern Warfare 2 sales. It did we generated 1 billion in 5 days, so we gotta like step it up. We gotta step up the price. Maybe we gotta make it like 80 billion. Maybe we gotta make it 90. Maybe we gotta make 100 billion. And Microsoft would be like, let's keep it 70 billion, right? And maybe it's not gonna be something that they like, right? There could be just multiple different things. But if it doesn't happen, if the lawsuit is not solved by June 2023, they would have to really renegotiate a deal, and a lot more stuff can happen. Now, it doesn't mean that, hey man, like if this deal is like if Microsoft wins the case in court, and we're talking like 2024, 2025, whatever, maybe even in 2023, but in July after June, then they would have to renegotiate the deal. This is actually wild, bro, like crazy.
Essentially, because of this legal deadline, if they do not have this thing completely finished, completely bought and paid for by June, if it's still tied up in these big acquisition procedures, all these legal cases, they're going to have to renegotiate it, maybe coming up with a different price. And if that happens, most likely the entire deal is just going to fall apart. I mean, in my opinion, from what I've seen in the past of acquisitions and mergers and
stuff. But Microsoft is not hurting for money. So let's say Activision is like, you gotta pay us like 80 billion, man, 80 billion. Maybe Bobby Kotick will feel kind of cute, and he will feel like, hey, I gotta do money glitches. I can make that money by doing money glitches. You give me 80 billion right now. So he can actually pull one of those things out, right? And maybe Microsoft won't like it. Or maybe Microsoft is like, bro, like we're making more money than God right now. So like, you know what? Take it. We'll give you 80 billions now. Give us Call of Duty. It could happen. Let's be real. Will Sony spend that? It would be actually hilarious. Like, let's just say, okay, hypothetically, not trying to justify it, not trying to offend the bots or the Sony ponies, but let's be real, okay? Sony ponies and bots, we gotta come together as one. They don't care about you. I guess you know that, okay? But it's not practical. I'm not saying that. The ponies are fighting, the bots are fighting over dumb stuff. Over what? Dumb stuff. They don't even care about you. If they cared about you, they would have given you free online access. They would have given you like, they're spending 70 billion. They would have at least give you like $10 credit. Bruh. $20 credit in the store. They would have given you more discounts. F the discounts. They would have given you free games. You know what I mean? Like, you can go to China. I can go to China right now. I can get everything down for 2 cents. I can buy the entire Activision for $1 there, bro. For $1. You give me 5 pennies, I can put my 95 pennies into it. That makes $1. We can buy Activision together. You can be the 5% stockholder, you know? Or you can tip 50 pennies 50-50. How about that? Let's make it 50-50. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't care about you, man.
Like that. If your company gets tied up for years and years and years, it hurts your stock price, it hurts your company, it hurts your production cycle. It makes sense that if they don't completely seal the deal on this here in the next, 8 months, it's going to totally liquidate, in my opinion. But here's what's interesting is everybody is now releasing statements. Here's the full FTC, the intention to sue to block Microsoft's acquisition. Microsoft bought Bethesda, and then they decided to make Bethesda games exclusive and states they could do it again with Activision Blizzard. So it's interesting.
Yo, okay, I want to know your thoughts on this real quick. Like, y'all think that the FTC is just like just completely full of it, or you think that FTC is making the smart decision because Microsoft actually did that? What's your input? What's your expertise on that? Because let's be real, man, Microsoft did buy Bethesda and they were like, we're strong, we're independent, we're gonna make it exclusive on the Xbox. Now, I'm not justifying it, and I'm also not saying that Xbox cannot do that. If Sony can do that, then Microsoft should be able to do it, right? I'm not justifying exclusive. In my honest opinion, every game should be on all platforms. That's when, you know what, you're gonna have the liberty, you're gonna have the freedom, you're gonna be truly, how they like to say, you're gonna be strong and independent, and you can make a purchase to your likings. You can go ahead and make a purchase. You can buy a Sony Pony console without worrying your franchise would go exclusive on Xbox. You can goes the same. You can go ahead and buy a bought console without worrying about your favorite franchise going exclusive to a Sony Pony console, to PlayStation, to Xbox, right? I would love to have all the games exclusive, or not exclusive, I mean, bruh. I would love to have all the games available on all the consoles. Now, if it's like first party games, you know, that's kind of different though. That's kind of different. For example, God of War, it's a PlayStation title, always started out to be a PlayStation title, and it's a PlayStation exclusive. Perfectly fine. Just like Halo, right? Halo started off Xbox exclusive, but if Microsoft wants to put it on PlayStation, they surely can. And if PlayStation wants God of War to be on Xbox, they surely can if they want to, right? Those games, I feel like most people are not, they don't have any problem with, because those are like, they started off and those were always exclusives, and it's like story games, so it doesn't really matter. But for games like Call of Duty, for other games, for example Bethesda, I'm not into Bethesda, so it doesn't affect me. But I'm not saying that if it doesn't affect me, that doesn't mean it won't affect you, right? I'm not saying that, not justifying it. But my point here is that if Sony is gonna make games exclusives, then it's gonna be hypocritical to say that Microsoft can. They should be able to if Sony can do that, right? You know, let's keep it both ways. I play on Sony Ponies, but let's actually keep it fair for everybody. But FTC, they also have this good argument. I know people would be like, bruh, so who you with? I just like hearing the truth, man. I'm with the truth. Like, if they actually did that, FTC is using that as an excuse. But let's be real, if Sony bought Activision, they would have likely made Call of Duty exclusive to PlayStation. Let's keep a $1.50 here, right? Let's keep a $1.50.
That the Federal Trade Commission seems very afraid of the power of exclusives. Now, there's been a lot of debate inside the gaming industry as to whether or not exclusives really are that big of a deal. You know, times where somebody releasing one big giant game, how much does it actually sell consoles? I mean, I guess a prime example, something like Pokemon, or something like Final Fantasy is now second-party exclusive to Sony consoles. How many PlayStations or how many Nintendo Switches is that actually selling? The numbers on that are hard to address, but in my opinion, it does seem like exclusives matter, and it seems like the FTC is saying that exclusive Call of Duty is just too powerful to even compete with. Now, what's interesting to me...
Like, could you imagine, man? It is all happening because of Call of Duty. Like, what's so special about Call of Duty? Let's think about it, right? Like, what's so special about Call of Duty? It comes out buggy. It comes out incomplete. It comes out with heavy, thick-ass, skill-based matchmaking. People always complain about it, but they still buy it. They still play it. But let's be real, Modern Warfare 2 is kind of decent. It's kind of decent, though. I kind of like it. I love listening to podcasts and watching YouTube videos in the background and playing at the same time. But if I don't have anything behind and I'm just playing dead ass with the game audio, then I'll just catch herpes, I'll catch AIDS, I'll catch all sort of diseases, and it's not gonna be fun, right? But Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, genuinely, it's actually pretty good. It's actually pretty good. But other than that, 3 years, 3,000 devs that people like to constantly bring in, it looks like that it is kind of special.
is that right here, people keep bringing up ridiculous points. Since this keeps coming up, Sony paying Activision to get exclusive content in Call of Duty is not the same thing as Microsoft taking 100% ownership of the entire IP and franchise. Sony paying for exclusive content is stupid, but Sony cannot dictate the entire direction of the intellectual property. One of the things that Sony has been doing a lot
basically, Charlie Intel is saying that Call of Duty is strong and independent. Bobby Kotick is doing money glitches, and allegedly he is standing there with thumbs up his asses as well. Not plural, just one ass. Thumbs up his ass. Let's just, I mean, bruh. But the situation is kind of deep. Let's just keep it at that.
Over the course of the last 10 years, which has been incredibly successful for them, is buying marketing deals, saying, okay, we'll put best on PlayStation at the end of your commercials, or if you're making something like Call of Duty, we want the earliest beta, we want to have exclusive maps and stuff like that. But as good as those deals have been for Sony, that's very different than straight up buying it for $70 billion. The FTC is directly stating that one of the—
Can a brother get like 2 cents, bro?
Key reasons in issuing the block is how Microsoft handled the Bethesda deal. They said that keep games multi-platform, then change their minds after interesting. Wow, this is an official statement by the FTC. The agency notes that Microsoft decided to make several of Bethesda's titles, including Starfield and Redfall, Microsoft exclusives, despite assurances that it had given to European antitrust authorities that they had no incentive to withhold games from rival consoles. Now, this is some very strong phrasing here. It's basically they're saying, why would we hold back? We're Xbox. We want to sell games everywhere. And then they did make stuff exclusive later.
Wow. Yo, FTC just literally went in gang style. They just cock-blocked the homies up, man. It's gonna be really interesting to see what happens.
Very interesting. Microsoft's statement on the FTC lawsuit. Microsoft responds with, while we believe in giving peace a chance, we have complete confidence in our case and welcome the opportunity to present our court in case. Our case in court.
Okay, that's just cap. Like, pump the brakes. My tires just punctured. I need new tires right now, but that's just straight up cap. Microsoft, are you kidding me right now? If Sony said that, I would have said the same thing. Microsoft and Sony, they do not want peace. They want your money. They wanna get you to open up your wallets and spend billions. Billions. I'm not talking about one person. Collectively, all of us together. They want us to open up our wallets and just give the money away to those incomplete games, and we still, at the end of the day, we still get labeled as toxic and problematic. Let's keep a buck here. Like we believe in giving peace a chance. I mean, I don't believe it. Wrong.
Interesting. We have committed since day one to addressing the competition concerns, including by offering earlier this week proposed concessions to the FTC. While we believed in giving peace a chance, we have complete confidence. That's interesting. While they're literally saying they're going to go to war. Now, I want to make it clear, other people have been talking about this. Here's the FTC board basically saying that, hey, this is—
I'm strong, I'm independent, I'm strong, and you're just so wrong. Strong and independent, strong and independent. You're strong, I'm strong, and you're wrong because you're a man.
It's overstepping their bounds. This is like, this lady is being paid to obviously defend Activision and Microsoft. No.
What? Bumblecud! Yo, what?
No hate on her, she's trying to do her job, but the FTC has tried to sue people in the past. The FTC has blocked deals in the short term that ended up going through. In 2002, there was even a big merger that was blocked by Activision, by Microsoft, where Microsoft was trying to buy somebody and it got blocked for like a year by the FTC, and it did eventually get completed and they were purchased. I think this deal is still going to be finished, maybe, but man, this is interesting. This is so—
Maybe, but I want to know your thoughts. W, if you think it's gonna go through. L, if you think it's not gonna go through. But ladies and gentlemen, this season finale is just crazy. But ladies and gentlemen, we got some massive situation with the Call of Duty Warzone cheating situation. Facewag Nadia has been accused of cheating. We got some wild footage. Click on this video on the screen and I will see you right there. Subscribe.